This is my 100-pound Everlast heavy bag. The bottom was getting extraordinarily hard. Why that happens is there are these sandbags inside, and all of them start to get sunk down to the bottom. The way to fix it is to repack the bag. I'm going to try to do this in a way that I haven't seen other people do that will hopefully be more helpful than just packing it like you normally would. For starters, unpacking it, I've got my bench. I put the bag on there, balanced it, unzipped it. I got a few containers. You can see there are some busted bags. That sand is down in here. If you're really cheap like me and you've got sand mixed in with the fabric, you can take a colander, some people call it a strainer, and once you get down to the low amounts, start filtering it so you can get as much of this fabric as possible. Go ahead and have a look at the seams. This one looks like it's starting to fall apart, so I will actually go ahead and, while it's emptied, probably go ahead and get that sewn. I just got back from a shoe repair shop. The man fixed these straps around the rings. Both of them were starting to tear apart some, and he reinforced all the attachments here to the actual bag. Took him about 15 minutes, and he charged me $15. Most suggestions I've seen on how you're supposed to fill your bag: hold the empty sack vertically. You put a bag in the center, put the stuffing all around it, make a layer, kind of get it dense, and then put another bag on top and just repeat until the whole thing is filled. My issue with that is this is just going to happen again. So instead, I'm going to try something different. My idea is to put some sort of tube structure, like this cardboard tube. I actually got it in the mail today. Inside the bag, I'll make some sort of structure down there to keep it locked into the center and to also distribute some of the weight. Fill this tube with the sand, and then make another platform on top. Same thing, so that the top doesn't wiggle around. And that should lock this tube, the sand inside, all your mass, in the center of the bag. To walk you through the plan so you understand it, at the bottom of the bag, I want to have kind of a base of filler. Then I want a platform, which in my case is going to be a popped basketball. It doesn't have to be that. Ideally, something that would cover the whole diameter of the bag without being so hard that it hurts if you hit it. The tube filled with sand will go inside that platform. Filler will be put all around it, and then at the top will be another platform, which in this case will be an expired volleyball that will also have filler within it. Now, to make sure this works, because this was a 100-pound bag and I want to keep it that way, I did some math. One bag of sand is 6.5 cups. 1 cup is 14.438 inches cubed. So one bag of sand is 93.84 inches cubed. There were 9 bags in my bag. FYI, I found a 10th bag when going through that bin. It was an emptied bag. If you have a 100-pound bag, know there are 10 bags of sand in there for a 100-pound bag, which means there were 844.623 cubic inches of sand. The cardboard tube I got today, it has a 3-inch diameter, which means the area is pi times 1.5 squared, which is approximately 7.067 inches squared. The volume of sand divided by the area of the end cap of the tube means I need 119 inches of tube, but this tube is only 48 inches, so that is way off. So since I can't use this tube, I'm going to figure out what tube I do want to use. The bag is about 45 inches long. I'd like to have about 6 inches of filler at the top and bottom between this post in the middle for safety's sake. So I decided I want about 33 inches of tube length. Divide the volume, 844 by 33, that means 25.59 inches squared. Divide it by pi, find the square root. I want a 2.85 radius tube, which is approximately 5.7 inch diameter. I looked all over town and on the internet trying to find a tube the right size I needed, and I could not find one. I looked at PVC pipe, even using something different. All the options are too expensive. Instead, I'm going to use this pipe, the one that I originally had. I've wrapped it in nearly a whole roll of duct tape. I could potentially still bust holes in it, could try to fold it up, so I don't want sand to start leaking out. What I'm using are gallon-size freezer bags. about a quarter full of sand, maybe a third. Make sure all the air is out and you seal them. You don't want any air in there. Once you have it in, or even if you have it only mostly in, keep slamming the pipe until it goes all the way down. I forgot I wanted the pipe shorter than it actually was and used a hand saw to cut it down. I ripped up the bag a little, not worried about it. Now I'm going to cap it, and I'm going to put a couple screws in the side of this cap. The lid is on and screws are in, so I'm going to duct tape over the top. Because the tube isn't big enough to hold all the sand, but I still want to have 100 pounds of weight, I've taken all the sand, put it evenly into Ziploc bags, and double bagged it facing opposite directions, so hopefully that won't leak. And I'm going to tape 3 of them on this side to the tube, and then I'm going to flip it over and tape those 3 as well. Here are the sandbags duct taped to the pipe. It's not pretty, it's not ideal. Now I'm starting to fill that bottom platform, the base for this pole, so it's not trying to poke through the bottom. So I'm going to take a 25-pound weight that will fit down in here and slam it in here to try to get some of that air out until I have approximately 6 inches of highly compressed filler. Now I've got this ripped open basketball. The ball is filled with stuffing now. Here is the pole filled with sand, sand strapped to it, and now a basketball with filler strapped to it. And I need to lower that into the bag and try to keep that ball centered. Again, the purpose of this ball is because this pipe will have so much pressure on it, I don't want it to rip a hole in the bottom of the bag. So this is to kind of evenly disperse the weight. Here it is in the bag, just sitting on the ball at the bottom. You can't see it. Now I just need to put the filler in and keep this centered the entire time. Just so you have an idea, you see the bag is almost full. I've got that much stuffing left. I'm hanging the bag up and I'm just hitting on it some, then putting my hand up in the top and squeezing it down, and then putting more in as I can. I've got this volleyball that's old. I cut a hole in it. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the basketball. Stuff it full of filler and then mount it on top right here. The point of this top ball, in case I didn't explain it, is so that the bottom shouldn't move around with that basketball attached. I don't want this top to start leaning over to one side and the sandbags getting too close to the edge. So this is meant to help kind of keep it centered once I stuff all the way around it. So I'm done with the bag for now. It looks good. I have this much filler left, which is more than I wanted, but I'm still pretty happy considering I added a deflated volleyball, basketball, 33-inch tube, and about a roll and a half of duct tape in there. I've been trying it out. It feels a lot better than it did before, but that's going to happen anytime you refill your bag properly. So whether or not this really counts as properly and whether it works better than how it will for other people, I don't know. Time will tell. But the concept, I think, is pretty sound. So if you find yourself having a large enough tube to hold your sand, I would say it's worth it. For all the extra duct tape I had to add and taping the bags on, that was a bit more of a pain than it was worth. But again, I think if you've got the right size tube and you're willing to take the weight that it'll fill, it is definitely worth doing it this way.